experience.
How's it going, guys? How's it going, Mayor, council members? I'm Mr. Rardin. I'm one of your only attorneys in Winslow, Arizona. Went to college for 15 years, have 4 degrees, and one of my pupils is walking away from me right now, who I believe I taught chemistry back in like 1994. And so I used to be one of the deputy prosecutors for almost 8 years. And for 4.5 of those years, I worked here in Winslow as a felony charging attorney. I can see that Chief Garnett's here. He was nice enough to let me have an office there for a few years, so I got to understand what was going on in Winslow and be able to better contact the victims that would come into the police department that wanted to speak to a prosecutor, someone that was independent of the police department to answer their questions. And so the only reason I'm here is because I don't really watch the news very much. I do most reading, and it's usually writings from our founding fathers and so forth. And so I didn't know about the shooting until maybe a couple of weeks ago. And so I just wanted to express a few things about this, things that you can do. One is that if I was the council members and mayor, I would find a new police chief that isn't from the area. I believe that the Winslow Police Department has an atmosphere of corruption. And when I talk about corruption, I'm not talking about corruption as like hiding evidence. I'm talking about corruption about nepotism, about hiring people that you're friendly with, besides hiring someone that that's more competent. And when you have that kind of corruption, what you do is that it creates a divided workforce, and you start treating people better that agree with you. They're like sycophants, basically, and that's the way it's run. It's like I would sit there and I would see certain officers get treated miserably because they would have a different opinion than Chief Garnett. That's when he was there. I mean, Chief Garnett wasn't there most of the time. I wouldn't say that he was a great manager of the personnel, but the thing is that he treats people, church members, differently. His secretary was gone all the time. I'm not quite certain if she put down the hours that she was missing, but I was there, sometimes 2-3 days a week, if not more. She was gone most of the time. But I just wanted to bring to your attention that if I was the city council, I would hire someone from not here. I would hire someone that could come in with independent judgment, didn't have any prejudices, didn't have any favorites, and that someone that would raise or bring someone up to like a lieutenant or corporal that was deserving, besides someone that was a bootlicker. And when I say this, I'm not doing this because I'm proud of this. This is very hard for me to do because I like Chief Garnett. He was very nice to me. I do think that if you cross his path, he can be somewhat vicious. And I like Aaron. I work with Aaron because he was doing the evidence.com when I got there. That made it much easier for me to do my job. But I wouldn't hire Aaron for the same reason, is I believe that he treats people differently that agree with him. Our founding fathers separated the government into 3 branches for a reason. Coming out of the Victorian era, they knew that you couldn't put power into one source without it being unchecked. I think that's what we have here in Winslow. We don't have justice of the peace that will check the police department because Mr. Little is friends with Mr. Garnett. Mr. Garnett told me that he signed his petition to get on the ballot, which him and I had an argument. Basically saying that it was kind of uncouth for him to support someone like that, considering that it would be his check on his power. But I don't see there's any check here. And so I could go over and over again. I'm not going to go through every circumstance that I have seen. I'm not going to go through every police report that I have witnessed. I'm not going to go through every victim that has come and talked to me about how they're mistreated. I could sit here all night and do that. I think you only said 5 minutes. But I think it's my moral duty to come here and basically tell you that I think that someone outside the police department would be a better choice. The other thing, too, is that it's come to my attention that someone wants a civil force to look into this. I think that would be a good idea. I'm still an attorney, but I'm not a practicing attorney anymore. We'll just say that my main love is the science field, and so now I'm doing medical device regulation, but I do cases pro bono, and last year I did over 250 hours of pro bono work. You would be surprised how many people come to me and tell me how they've been mistreated by the police department, about how they've been mistreated by the JP, and usually it comes into the fact that the JP is using workforce harassment 500 yards or 500 feet around a workplace to keep transients out, which is a problem because really it's only supposed to be dedicated to the workplace. You can't expand it beyond that. I take cases every now and then. I don't know if you guys knew that, but the little 15-year-old that was charged, I took that case. He hasn't been charged since. And I can say that through my investigation, Mr. Garnett decided to arrest my 15-year-old client after he was told by the county attorney's office there wasn't enough evidence, which is a 1983 violation of his constitutional rights. You can't arrest someone after the prosecutor tells you there's not enough there. And so that would be a circumstance. And so I would ask or suggest that a council wouldn't be bad. I would volunteer for it if you would want me to. But I do think that there needs to be something else there because I have a feeling in the long run, just by people talking to me, they'll start taking matters into their own hands. And when I talk about taking matters into their own hands, I think it would be legal matters that you guys would be looking at. Oh, and then the last thing. I listened to last week's meeting. I believe, I can't remember the ladies, Ms. Dago got up and you guys were talking about the alcohol. From my experience, the only thing that Winslow could do, even if you got rid of every liquor license here, it would have unintended consequences. You would have people driving to Holbrook, or you'd have people driving over to Flagstaff. You'd probably have more accidents because of people doing this, driving drunk. The other thing is that you're not really going to make headway, or at least the Navajo Nation's not going to make any headway unless they start taking responsibility for putting people in jail. Now, I know they can only do it for a year, and I've talked to some of their judges, and they only have a certain amount of beds. But no matter what you do, they're going to find it. They're going to take it on to the nation. And at that point, what's going to happen is you're going to have unintended consequences and more accidents. Unless the Navajo Nation starts to arrest the people and take matters into their own hands, I don't see it stopping. The only thing that Winslow could do is basically enforce the liquor laws that selling to minors or selling to someone who's inebriated. The other thing that I had seen is that a lot of defendants would tell me that people such that living at Maverick would sell this stuff out the back door. I don't know what you would do on that, but I had seen that before. And so
it's been 5 minutes now, so
okay.
Kind of just, if you want to conclude, that's fine.
Oh yeah, the other thing too is that so I don't know which council member brought it up last week. It said something about the ACLU wouldn't let people be forced to go to treatment. Not even the Supreme Court would force someone to go. That's against their liberties. The biggest problem is there's not enough money for treatment. Even if someone wanted to go, most of them are indigent, and unless they're veterans with the VA, they wouldn't be able to go anyways.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else for call to the public?